Hello, this is George Sandman. I'm the founder and CEO of Growth Drive. And Growth Drive is a system used by business advisors to drive client profits, growth, and value. Now, we're also a community. Every week we get together to talk about all things business advisor, everything clients, cases, things we're seeing out in the world. Now, tune in here to this podcast, and you can join the conversation by scanning this QR code, passcode 867-5309. Jump into the conversation. Everyone's welcome. We're looking forward to having you. So here we go. On with the show.
How you doing?
Good morning.
Good.
Mr. Garrison, thanks for the recommendation on frame making.
You enjoying it?
Finished it. I had read the Challenger sale a long time ago now, a decade maybe, which was particularly good for my business. I have not read The Challenging Customer, though I've run across a few of them.
Done some work around Baltimore, have you?
I think they're everywhere, unfortunately.
Well, you know what we call Baltimore on the East Coast?
No.
The asshole.
Yeah. Thank you. You'd be about right. I think I've cornered all of those difficult customers. I think I've got them all rounded up.
Yeah, the Port of Baltimore is so big, it's the perfect place for things too.
Good morning, Tim. I thought you were going to be. I'm doing great, thank you, Paul. Good to see you.
You're looking all refreshed and rejuvenated, almost like you've been walking around the mountain somewhere.
I have absolutely been walking around in the mountains somewhere. It was outstanding. You know, sad not to have all three of my sons, but two out of three ain't bad, as the old song.
How was the first hard day at altitude? How'd it treat you?
Good, man. I was actually surprised, and not bragging, but I was surprised. I trained for it, but training at sea level on a treadmill, that's a first in my life. I've never not had access to hills and mountains, and before one of these trips. Anyway, it was great. You know, the biggest stop and breathe. You know, you're not getting enough oxygen, stop and breathe. And, you see the people on Everest, you take one step and then wheeze for half an hour. I wasn't there, but I'm pretty proud. I'm training for a couple of big trips and I'm sorry?
Sheep hunt?
Sheep hunt. Yeah. Sheep hunt in the Brooks Range. And then that's in a couple of years. And then next year, in all likelihood, a high altitude mule deer hunt in Montana. So I got a line. So, my friend Aaron calls them God whispers. So I'm sitting at a random bar in Ouray, Colorado, actually a upscale. It was really nice. And, which is right over the mountain. It's 9.4 miles, but an hour drive from Telluride, if you put you in the southwest corner. And this guy sits down next to me and he asks me what he looks at my drink and here's my son's commenting on theirs. And he asked me what we're drinking. So I tell him. And it was a rum Manhattan. Happy to share the recipe. It's not quite as it sounds. And anyway, I'm like, he's British. I'm like, oh, what are you doing here? Oh, I just finished a backcountry pack trip. I'm like, oh, well, where were you? He said, in Montana. I'm like, oh, I'm looking at an outfitter up in Montana. He said, well, I went with Swan River Outfitters, which was exactly the people I've been looking at booking with. And he raved for maybe 15 minutes about what a fantastic, the people, the stock, the country, stock is horses and mules, the equipment, everything he said was absolutely top flight. And I'm like, all right. Okay, so what are the odds of sitting, by the way, just walking into a random building in Ouray, Colorado and sitting down to a guy who's going, so anyway.
Sounds like a perfect, can I borrow your car referral source?
It was an absolutely. In fact, I picked up the phone and called them the next day and I said, hey, this guy, Glenn, and they loved that guy because he was just such a great, when you're an outfitter, so we're advisors, right? And some clients are great and you look forward to talking to them on the phone and you love them and they love you and things are good. And even when things are tough, you're in it together. And then there are other clients. Glenn was that first type of client for the outfitter, any problems where he did not become a prima donna. And that's what we're looking for as advisors, right? And those are the perfect Mike, are those the perfect referrals? People who have a can-do, will-do attitude. And
Yeah.
but
They're
enough
great
about
cheerleaders. You'd love to have a bunch of those kind of cheerleaders walking around talking about your business. I don't know that they make for great. I don't know that they make for great predictability in referrals. That random encounters will create something, right?
Yeah. Well, you know what? In life, and it's something I try to teach my sons, and you guys have all seen this, right? We've all been around the block. Tip, good morning, man. Great to see you. You're one chance encounter away from some massive change, right? And generally for the good, right? One chance encounter. And this was just one of those chance encounters. And that's how we often meet. I have someone with whom he happens to be a friend, but I hadn't seen him in years. And I ran into him at a conference, and it happened to be the empty chair. And I'm now helping him using the 24 growth driving objectives so that I can better help all of you and your clients work through the 24 objectives, making sure we create the processes, and then the processes that are ripe, right, that are appropriate for AI. The question started with, how do I, you're in technology, how do I incorporate AI? I'm like, whoa. And there's a process. So I'm using that process with them, and it's going very well. And it allows me to prove out, or to skunk works, if you will, how we do what we do, and make sure that what I'm, just get some firsthand personal experience. Anyway, chance encounters, guys.
Yeah, George, I love those chance encounters. To quote my friend Mike Garrison, building a business on chance encounters is probably not a good idea.
It's probably not a good strategy.
But if we built the kind of referral system that Mike encourages us to, that creates a solid base, then the chance encounters are the cherry on the top, right? That's what comes along and provides it, right? So
100%. Tim here present. Tim and I just happened to sit next to each other at a table at an LX council, right?
Yeah.
Did I miss something?
No. Mike was giving me a high five, and I waited too long, so I missed.
You leave me hanging. So super fired up, man. There's so much going on.
Who is Tim again? Who's that guy?
They're letting anybody into this group.
He's got all these clients now. He's too busy for us small people.
Yeah. By the way, and Tim, I'd love to see you in October. I know I answered you from wherever the hell I was that day, but yeah.
Oh, I'm already planning on being there. So I have two quick questions that if I can, and then leave the rest of the meeting open. One of them we've discussed before, that I've got a client whose NAICS code 54. I've had several. And the first time I was doing an alignment exercise with them, they wanted to see what would happen to their value if we improved their EBITDA by X%. And it turned out that they were valued on a multiple of revenue, gross revenue, right? So nothing I did with their EBITDA changed things. And it was a stumble for me, but I recovered. And then months later, I'm doing another one. This is the one we talked about. It's my newest client. And you and I had this conversation a few weeks ago about their multiple of revenue and what Houlihan Lokey was looking at, things like that. I'm doing their clarity assessments, their strategic capacity and business value reports for their leadership team right now. So I'll have 5 going into an alignment exercise on September 2nd. And I was reading through the fourth one I did last night. And in the guts of the report, it's talking about how it's estimating the value based on a multiple of earnings. So I'm confused. And I know you were looking at something. Did something change between when I misfired the first time and now? So I'm just curious.
No,
language.
In that, yeah, and in that section, you'll notice that it doesn't say gross earnings or net earnings, right? It just says earnings. So it's just a multiple of earnings. As we evolve, Tim, and I'll show it to you right now, and then you and I can work together on creating. Yeah, well, you won't have to wait because we're about to release it. That's the short answer, Tim. I can give you a longer answer. Eric and I had this conversation last night. If you want the rest of the story, does that answer your question?
Well, my question is, in my fish or fowl, like which of those two should I carry on the conversation with or be prepared to do both? I mean, they do translate because the multiple of earnings that AI says that you would get on a gross revenue for a business in their industry would be 0.5 to 0.9, something close to 1. And
On revenue, 0.5 or 0.9 on revenue.
On gross revenue. Yeah.
Gross revenue. And that the multiple on earnings would be something higher than that. But so do you just translate and go back and forth, or do we pick one? Because one part of the exercise is using gross revenue, and the other part is referring to earnings.
Well, I used it. I'll take responsibility and accountability. I used the word earnings there when I designed that report, because so that it doesn't splash on anyone else. To be a catch-all for multiple of a number, and that number is earnings, whether gross or net.
So the answer, Tim, partly is that some data that's in that George is getting, that's supplying us some data goes off revenue and some data goes off earnings. So for certain categories, it's going to give the multiple on revenue for the valuation.
And we're very clear in the report that whether it's, for this industry, value is calculated based on gross revenue, net income.
Right.
And we all know it's not net income, it's EBITDA, but we don't use those terms with CEOs because it pisses them off.
I actually like earnings better when you use that, George, because it's more generic than net income, which is an improper statement, right?
Yeah.
So
love that. Thank you.
Tim, I would just add something.
In the equity value planner, it only lets you use gross revenue, and the multiples are based on that unless you change the industry. And then in the business value calculation.
Wait, I got to stop you right there, because in equity value planner, it doesn't limit you. I mean, if that industry, if you're using, for example, professional services, it will use your gross revenue number, and it's very clear in that box. Is that box 6, box 5?
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure because people watch this, I don't want there to be any confusion. It doesn't switch. It is consistently applied throughout the system. In the report, it says the word earnings. It's simply a catch-all. That is one word. Wow, we sound like a bunch of attorneys. Yep. That is one word that is being used as a catch-all, Tim. There's no change in how it's calculated. There's absolutely no, if it's manufacturing, it will always be on net income as a term referring to EBITDA. But EBITDA is a baloney term, because we all know that the EBITDA number that our clients use is generally a tax mitigation number, not true EBITDA. So I mean, it complicated.
Has to be adjusted EBITDA.
There's so many nuances in here. But that word earnings. Go ahead. Yeah. Sorry.
2 comments, Tim. One, I like to use, even when there's revenue as the driver of the valuation, I like to go up and look at what the earnings multiple is and see if they're consistent with that, because there is risk in the business if their earnings isn't consistent. If you're in IT, then earnings don't matter. See Facebook, right? But a lot of businesses' earnings do matter, right? The second comment is, even if earnings is the driver of valuation, revenue is the driver of valuation, earnings matter to the owner, and you can use that to talk to them about the fact that that's what's putting money in their pocket. And so increasing earnings is a good thing no matter what, because that's what's going to get them to the point, that's what's going to pay their bills until they do sell the business, right?
Yeah. Well, and so let's take a step back. Eric, do you mind if I share what I shared with you last night?
Please go ahead.
So guys, the new user interface is coming, and I will show you the pre-release version. Mike?
Coming.
Hey man, as soon as we can do it right. Our goal is to have it published to you before the summit. That is our intent. If it is not working correctly, we will hold it back in any way. We will hold it back until, but think, beginning of October-ish. Summit would be great to have it out there, wouldn't it?
Awesome.
Okay. What is going to be in the UI? In the UI, we're changing to a portfolio look. And I'll give you guys have seen the rebranding, right? That rebranding style is being carried into the entire software suite. The way you access the suite is changing. So it'll be we are moving to a portfolio-based view. And so you'll log into your portfolio of companies, and the reports have a very consciously a fintech and private equity look and feel. Okay, I think we can all agree that the current hard-coded reports are not as attractive as they could be. Okay, and shame on me for not changing them sooner. I'll show you what the draft looks like right now. We're not going to get into nitpicking what's where, but I'll give you a look for the look and feel, because I'm still working on the what's where. But I'll show you the look and feel. Now, hand in glove with that, what do we need to do? Well, private equity is changing how they talk about the market, and the data sources are evolving how they talk about value, and they are changing to have a wider perspective. So they're saying, if you look at GF data, for example, we have multiples. So you'll see a column that's multiple of gross revenue. You'll see the next column that's multiple of net income. And then as professionals, you're supposed to know which column to pay attention to. We'll provide guidance there, but we're going to have sector. So we will always have the 2-digit NAICS code. That gives us the broadest data set and is highly accurate, right? This is what we have used for years, and why it's so accurate, right? And I can go into that for the next hour. We are going to add a 2-digit sector look. And so you'll have by industry, by sector, on multiple of gross, multiple of net. Okay. So you're going to have a much broader. So what you're able to do is now educate your client, no matter what number is being talked about across the table. We can't count on the competence and the, in any transaction, each side is trying to get something. So they're not being nefarious. I almost said nefarious, but it's not. I mean, their interest may be in discussing a multiple, a different multiple applied to a different number than you are. We need to go in there with the full briefing, so that we're like, oh, no problem. You want to talk about multiple of gross revenue? We're prepared for that. Net income, prepared. And then you have the implication of margins, and we're going to, and we already use publicly available data on margins. I heard somebody earlier say AI. Tim, I think you did. You've got to be super specific. Because what you will find is AI will go out and compare your $3 million manufacturing company. Hey, good morning. I've got a dog cruising around my legs.
So Johnson gets rolled.
Tech. So we need to know. So we're going to give you more information. I know that's a lot to chew on, but always evolving forward. Tim, I want to make sure we answered your question before I jump into, because I know you have go ahead.
Well, two things is, I guess I wanted to be able to explain why one section of the framework you insists for promotes gross revenue and the other refers to EBIT. I can explain that now. And then, like Eric, I just working through this on my own. I just said, well, let's look at it both ways, and the numbers should validate each other, at least be relatively close on the same line. And when I was with him, his investment bank, Houlihan and Lokey, was talking about
Good bank.
Gross revenue. You're applying gross revenue to tech, which is what you all are saying right now. And yet he had been looking for years at multiples of earnings. So I think for this particular case, I have to be bilingual on it. But it's helpful to know where it's coming. And I did figure out a workaround on the equity value planner, because I found another industry sector that offered the range of multiples that he was looking at with his company. So I just was able to put that in there.
So Tim, and you were So I'm going to make an assumption, and I'm going to verbalize my assumption, and then you can tell me, George, I'm not that, that's not. If you change the industry to meet your client's expectation, and I know you and I've had so many conversations. I know you're not doing this, but for anyone watching, if you change the industry, if you change your numbers to meet your client's expectation, you're letting them buy their own bullshit. Okay, because clients come into the conversation saying, "Well, Tony sold his company for 12 times earnings." Well, Tony had patents. Tony was completely out of the business. There was no owner dependence. There was all sorts of, Tony's business was doing $72 million a year, et cetera. So yeah, Tony got 12 times earnings from a strategic buyer. That is all factually correct. Your client may not, in all likelihood, cannot get a 12x multiple, right? And so the client will come in. What we need to do is educate, realign their expectations around reality. What I love, Tim, is that I know you don't do that. So guys, no way impugning Tim. I'm just diving on that point because it allows me to pontificate. What I love that you've done, Tim, and we all talk about it, is you have an investment banker at the table. It's like, I don't give it. And at this point, then it's like, I don't care what the software says. Mm-hmm. Let's look at this real, and that's a great investment bank, right? Let us talk to an investment banker who has granular knowledge of the market, who has identified specific buyers, who may be talking in terms of strategic or synergistic value, and is highly incented to get the software. Doesn't care whether the valuation is high or low. An investment banker and the owner care profoundly if they can position the business to maximize the value. Those are different conversations, right? So we're bringing a financial buyer's perspective, a very conservative view. I love it. And the investment banker may be like, well, the software is overly optimistic because the sector is flat right now. The sector, not the industry. The sector is flat right now. Okay. Oh, cool. Now we're talking about the integrated system. I'll stop. Mike, I see you laughing your butt off.
No questions.
Well,
I mean, I just want to, maybe I'm missing something here, but isn't the software, don't we have something already that allows us to navigate the delusional or the imaginative, and that's the range of multiples override and the range of value report?
Uh-huh.
I mean, I've used that a few times. That's been really, really handy. Oh, okay, your golfing buddy said what? And we compute it in, everything updates, and it's like, does this look like a real world to you? No. Okay, well, let's go back to where we were. Right? I mean,
yeah. Thank you, Tim.
I mean, isn't that what Tim could use in that kind of a situation, is just that override feature?
It won't work, though, what Tim was trying to do.
Oh.
The override feature would override the multiple on revenue to give the new multiples on revenue. And what Tim wanted was to see what the multiples on EBITDA were. So he had to switch. The reason he said he switched to another industry is so that it would drive EBITDA multiples versus revenue multiples.
Oh, right? I see. Okay. So he's using it.
And I wasn't, to be clear, I wasn't changing it to match the owner's expectations. I was changing it to,
I didn't think you were. Yeah.
What the industry norms were, the range of multiples for that sector. And because once I found an industry that traded on earnings, I just wanted to show him what the range was.
Right. Oh yeah, I knew you wouldn't, Tim. That's why I was very careful.
And by the way, I never actually did get to that equity value planner, because when I sat down with him that day, he had that call with Hula and Loki, and they gave him the holy cow update on the trajectory of his sector, and didn't even have to do it.
So, good. That's great. And good for him. But time to market, man. Time to market. That's why we have the bonus question.
So I told you that was a quick question. So
that's why I always have the investment banker in the first meeting.
Yeah. My second question had to do with, you may have touched on already, was the reports that you're working on, because I've got some of these that are imminent. You've shown examples of what some of them look like. Is there a way to go into Claire now and get, say, a strategic growth plan or a Clarity 2 report in that new style, or is that still in gestation?
I am going to be meeting with the engineers at very end of this call, and it is we have a few tweaks I'm going to show you right now, and it is my hope to have them released by the end of the week, Tim. So we're not going to wait until the whole suite is ready. I know these reports are very important to you guys. So we're going to release the new level 1 and the new level 2 reports. And you are also going to see Claire 2. I know it's confusing. The one Claire that's inside the software. Many of you have it already. And we are opening it up to everyone who has a paying subscription.
Show.
And what?
Show.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Is it okay? Good morning, Ed. How are you, man?
Good. You're talking about databases that I have access to that looks at multiples and looks at multiples of revenue, looks at EBITDA, looks at solid discretionary earnings. That's what I have to live in on a daily basis with my business valuation work.
Yeah. Tim, I'd just say if you ever get in that situation, call Ed or call me. I have a database. Mine isn't as sophisticated as Ed's, but I have a thing where I can look up by NAICS code what the multiples are across multiple revenue all the way down to EBITDA, right? And so I could give you some data sets to look at that would give you what you need to look at.
Thank you. Very helpful.
But I'm sure Ed could do far better than I could.
Just don't
Hey,
call
Claude, make a to-do for me to get hold of Dave. Okay. My charming assistant. Sorry, guys. Hey.
All right.
Well, now.
Let's see it.
Let's see it. All right. Well, I'll show you the current working version. I've got to share my screen, don't I? Wow.
Yes.
New Zoom
on
is
stage.
driving me. Share. And we're going to share desktop 1. And am I sharing anything I shouldn't? No, I don't think I am. There we go. So I'm in. All right.
Mailinator.
Okay. So guys, this is on our dev server. Okay. So this is one of my engineers. He put that in, you have to load a logo. He loaded a picture of himself. Really great guy.
Can we replace that with a picture of Tim, please?
They want people to buy, Eric. They don't want people
to be on top of the head though.
So this is, I'm just going to scroll through just the look and feel, guys. Okay. There are some things, these are the types of little nits we're working on. Okay. So it's a profoundly, it is an updated look and feel, and the type of things you see how this is bitten off, and I'm not happy with this. Those are the little things we're going to work on that are very quick to fix. QA has already tested the accuracy, etc. So it's a very different look and feel than what we've had already. Okay, so we're changing. We're changing, right? We're evolving, and you'll see the entire software suite is being
Can you go back?
Yeah.
Stop at the value for a second, just so we can.
This one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Good. So you're showing the value gap, value at high strategic. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, and one of the things that's not in this report that is it in here yet? We're putting the scoring bands in so that you can lead a conversation.
I didn't see it. I thought it.
Yeah.
Just,
I saw 3 bands, but not the 5.
Yeah, no. You'll have yes, we have the 5 bands. That obviously hasn't made it in here yet. The 5 bands, and we're changing snapshot so that rather than giving a BS, it's not a BS. It's a pro forma. Here's what a business with 1.1 of net earnings would look like from a value perspective in your shoes. We're gonna actually change that conversation into the bands, right? Because I think that is based on your feedback. That is a better place to be. So, but
this looks awesome.
Yeah, it does. George, one thing that's missing that I liked from the version we were using from Annapolis up until now, and I don't know if this is too hard to do, don't sweat it, but when you're showing the answers to each of the questions in the 3 dimensions,
yeah,
it had color coded the little boxes, gold, green, or red, or whatever. And then there was a little icon there, like a check engine light or a green thumbs up or whatever. I don't know if those are hard to put back in, but at a glance, it was a lot easier to spot what was
problem areas. Yep.
Yeah.
That was trying to be really true, kind of, really, you know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. And that's, I will, hey, Plod, make that a to-do for me, please, to make sure that we have the color coding and icons, in the new version. Yeah. And all of this, I'm trying to have it released by Friday, guys. So,
This is the one that I was looking at
yeah.
last night. So this was the
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
And hang on.
Ah, yeah.
I'm going to screenshot it right now.
Oh yeah.
There we go. Done.
Hey,
Yeah.
you know,
Just Tim's right. Even just that bar
Yeah,
is helpful.
honestly, that's what I expect from the member of the year. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
Huh.
Sir Tim comes through again.
Just trying to bring it back. I mean, this was attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm showing you this just the way George did it.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
I
just
love
George
the
is-
bands.
There's the 5 bands. It shows you right here.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
bands and talking about asset class, guys, has been a game changer. And for your client facing conversations, talking about the bands, using the bands, and using the concept of an asset class business, it seems to me, and I'd love for those of you who have been having this conversation, how have your clients how has thinking in terms of the bands and the asset class business, has that helped, hindered, meh? Would love. I mean, I
Haven't had a band conversation yet, but I think that that's a much better way to present it than a raw number.
Awesome.
I have, and I love the standout because it gives them an aspirational status in like a safe space in between that and asset class. And what I do here, the analogy I use is like a grade point average, and you're trying to get into the college of your choice. You're trying to get into college at all, right? So here you're a C student, and then you're maybe a B student, and then an A student or an A plus. And where are you going to get accepted? Where are you going to get a scholarship, right? And that's the equivalent of getting into the school of your choice or getting multiple offers. So anyway, this is just a look at what the report was that we've been using in the meantime.
Yeah.
This is a heavy lift for Claude to make these reports. The HTML isn't too bad. The PDF it takes a long time.
It takes a long time. Well, and Tim has unwittingly, guys, Tim has unwittingly experienced what it's like. So, why is it so hard to spit out a .doc? Even AI, with all of the power that it has, chokes on a .doc. A PDF, HTML easy, PDF a little harder. It'll time out and be like, "Hi, I need more tokens." One of the things, guys, in Clear 2, you're going to see there is a limit on. It's a very generous limit, but you're going to hit a ceiling of tokens that come with. It's the first time we've put any kind of a limiter, and you can imagine from a business perspective.
Is that visible where you can see where you're at?
Yeah, can you fill the boot?
Yeah, you can fill. Oh yeah, you can, and you can add tokens, and the tokens are not expensive, right? We're not talking about $500.
Can you see?
$50.
Can you see where you are? To Mike's point, can you see how full the boot is?
Progress bar.
Yeah, progress bar.
Thank you.
Hey, Plod, make that a to-do for me as well. Progress bar. The engineers are great on this stuff. I'm happy to say that if not now, then certainly quickly. But the pool is deep enough that you couldn't, kicking your way to the bottom, it would be hard. So there's a lot of exciting stuff going on, guys, in the industry, I'll just one other real quick. We have stood up strategic-capacity.org. It is currently it's not finished, but it is published. It's a redirect right now. Catherine is working on it. She's doing a great job, and we're turning what you might find there if you hit the redirect. It just populated yesterday, so you may not be able to access it. We're going to change that to more of a hero's journey. And it's a place that you can send your clients, you can send your collaborative colleagues, your COIs, the rest of the integrated strategic capacity team to bone up on strategic capacity as a concept, and as an engine for change. Mike Garrison, I'll shut up.
This is for some of the more experienced people, which would be everybody but me on the call. doing growth drive / stuff like that. You know, I've been doing my own thing for a long time. I wanted to ask just your ballpark about numbers. Okay, that was confusing. Your ballpark about numbers for sales. Hey, Eric, can you minimize that just for a second?
Yeah. Just
So-
showing that it is up.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eric.
So number one, how many, so I'm going to go at the bottom of the business. And Paul, I really love your input. How many clients do you believe you can handle at a peak? Okay. And I want to just go around because we are recording this, but I'm not going to publish this. But what is your estimate of your own personal and your company's capacity to handle working clients? And then I've got 2 follow-up questions.
So for me, 5 to 10, because I like to go deep. EOS people are handling it 10 to 15, maybe 20 pretty easily. And as you know, a wealth planner is handling 100 to 200. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah. Oh, I do. And you don't want to hear the answer.
Don't alienate. Yeah.
Eric, Tip, Ed, Tim.
I can say 8 to 10 is a really strong number. Once I get past that, I'm out of control.
My sweet spot is 8 to 12. If I had 15, I would probably be in the hospital.
That's
No, Tim, we love you, man. We love you. Don't go to the hospital. Tim,
Yeah,
we love you.
No.
Mine is similar. Mine's probably 7 to 10 as an individual with Tony, just double that. And at that point in time, we'd probably be looking to bring on additional advisors or associates.
How are you counting your peer group stuff, which has 10 people right in just one peer group?
Yeah, I look at that as one client because I don't sweat each of their individual businesses. So I have a call with each one of them every month, and then I do the 4-hour meeting, which I chalk up to a day by the time I'm done preparing, delivering, and following up.
Eric.
So I'm in the same 8 to 12, ish, but I am actually working on bringing on a project manager next to me that would allow me, I think, to go to double that, where I could handle 24 clients, because the project manager client service rep would be sort of like a CSR in a financial advisory firm. They'd be handling the day-to-day stuff, and I would really be handling. I think that's the scalability of it.
Thank you. So two more levels of questions, and the squeeze on this is I'm going to be doing a poll, like an in-depth survey. Actually, not a poll, a survey in the community. But I wanted to get the Klatsch's input. So next level, back up from clients, up the sales funnel, right? How many prospective clients where you've already met with them, there's been some discussion of scope, but they are not in process? How many of them do you feel is a good number for you?
Good number in what way, Mike?
Yeah.
Like what we'd like to have, or what we can handle?
What you like to have, what can you handle? Because and the question at the top is, what do you think is a good number of identified prospects at the top that you haven't met with yet?
Wow.
So what I'm
So
trying
many
to do-
nuances to that. Yeah.
15 leads, 3 warm leads.
Okay.
I like that ratio. Yeah. So you're kind of using, in traditional terms, Mike, I know it's going to give you hives, but MQLs and SQLs.
I am, but I just didn't want to use those words. And because market
Sorry.
qualified leads aren't. So, like, because SQL and MQL means that you don't have an aligned system, basically. So like, but I'm talking to individual people here, right? So like, what do you guys think? So that's how many tip likes. How about the rest of you? What do you like this? How much potential deal flow do you like to have out there that you're working to bring to the table at any given time?
I'd like to have 3 to 5 at the bottom of the funnel that are coming out. And then I don't know the number at the top. As as many as I can handle, I guess would be the answer, but it's probably something in the 15 to 20 range as Tip threw out there, right? I don't know that I've ever gotten to that many going into the top actively that I'm like counting them, honestly.
Yeah, I'm with Eric, and my top of the funnel is a bit more uncertain. It seems like that's where a lot of work is spent when I get possibles, and I'm spending a lot of time volleying back and forth with them, not necessarily getting responses. So more accurate for me would be 3 to 5 people that are on an inner orbit.
Yeah.
To be determined on the algorithm.
It's the top of the funnel. These would be people you haven't talked to yet.
Oh, you haven't talked to?
Correct.
That somebody told you about, but you haven't talked to them. They've been identified in some way, but you haven't had a conversation yet.
Correct.
That's why I said that's more innocuous to me.
I
Yeah.
don't really have an opinion on that either.
Mike, you can tell we're not salespeople, right?
Yes. But you also are very successful people that I respect the hell out of. So so fundamentally, thank you all for sharing that with me. I'm going to be, and please interact when I load up the survey on it, because what I'm trying to do is, instead of pontificating, I'm trying to gather data from the community at large, share that data, offer advice from other people, even if I have to call you up and ask you to give it. But like, I just want us to be able to think about it, because the greatest weakness I see in consulting that I paid the price for this summer as I was switching focus was not having nailed that top of the funnel where you've done the research to know who are the ideal client prospects, because marketing that aims at a persona or an avatar is not of no value. It just is really hard to quantify when you can eat it, right? And so I'm going back more and more to my roots in copiers, where the expectation of my sales manager was that within a given defined geographic area, because we all had territories which we protected just viciously, right?
Yeah.
Within a given geographic territory, one of my most sacred responsibilities that I had to explain through prospecting and reach out was knowing what businesses that our company would want to work with were in my geographic area. That can be hard when you're a consultant, and I've struggled with this for a long, long time, because shit, we can work with so many different people, but like, I've had an epiphany thanks to my friend Jason Bush. Jason Bush and Peter Skelton and I are working on something nationally, and we have drilled down to a list of 160 ideal clients for a joint venture we're doing nationally. And we are now able to start crafting really confidence inspiring in us strategies to get to know them. It's taken me back to how confident I was when I was running my territory as a copier guy, because I had the research done. So thank you all for sharing.
Mike, I will raise my hand and say, this is an area that I absolutely need help on. Putting a prospect list, putting a prospect list together, and like actually acting like a salesperson, is not something that I've had a great skill set in or a lot of training in.
And it's also not something that you have to do.
No, I got it, but I'd like to understand how to do it. So when I wanted to do it, or if it were practical in a segment, I could do it. I just, honestly, as Tim and I both responded, I kind of throw everything I can in the top of the funnel and let it sort down. And then I'm focused on those 3 to 5 that are at the bottom of the funnel. I'm not really paying attention. If I'm honest with myself, I'm not really paying attention in a detailed manner to the top of the funnel. I'm just trying to get as much in there as I can.
So I'll try answering in a different way here too. So imagine a private equity company that's searching for companies that are for sale. They've got lots and lots of people on their list. And so I've got
Jeez.
access to thousands of names of CEOs in manufacturing and transportation. I can go out to trade association websites and find who's on their board of directors and everything else. So at this level, I've got many thousands of people. Over the years, I have a database of 12,000 people. 2,000 people have do not do anything now. But when I send out a monthly email, it goes out to about 9,500 people. So that's the next level. They've at least agreed to receive some emails. Then it gets down to, 100 or so, and then down to, just 5 or 10 people that I'm trying to stay in touch with and really
Currently.
develop them in the next year to working with me.
That sounds like sales to me.
Yeah.
That does sound like, and love an engineer. Thank you,
Yeah.
Paul.
But, because and Paul, where I'm going with this is when I read the frame making sale and then listened to the Audible and kept listening to Audible, I immediately started thinking about all of my friends and my clients that are in sales, even if they don't want to say they are, and how can I help them be more confident in identifying clients that they could then do frame making sale with. It's like, I want to help create a confidence in sales in addition to how you help your buyer be more confident choosing you, right? So that's kind of where I'm going with it.
I would raise my hand again, except that it constantly puts the symbol up, and so then I get in trouble for having my hand ready.
Not at all, Eric, man. Jump on in.
No, I want it. Like, please bring that.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be the core of that thing that George has got me doing in February.
We're releasing our 2026, end of 26 and 2027 training agenda. I call it a training agenda, not a sexy name, but everyone on this call and anyone listening understands what a training agenda is, our training calendar. And there's some really good stuff, including sales with the one and only Mike Garrison. So.
Hey, Mike, one piece of feedback on this that I think, intuitively, but it's really important. Xerox training was the goal. It was, and maybe probably still is, the true gold standard. Okay. And you did it. And that's amazing. I think one of the challenges that we have, and I don't say this as an excuse, just a little color, and maybe you can comment on this, is that when you're selling copiers at Xerox, that's all you're doing. And when you can do that within a Moneyball data-driven framework of discipline like Xerox had, you're getting at bats you're taking batting practice every single day. You're playing games every single day. And I think one of the challenges that I know I have, I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but one of the challenges I have is I'm the general manager, I'm the manager, I'm a lead, a starting pitcher, a relief pitcher, an infielder, an outfielder, a bat boy, and I got to take care of the turf on the diamond. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges that I have with sales in terms of staying disciplined or cordoning off a portion of my calendar for that level of discipline is I'm wearing too many hats.
Couple of things. I wasn't with Xerox. I competed with them. That
must have been fun.
They were in every deal, but it was fun beating them, right?
Uh-huh.
Because they had a linear playbook. And so all you had to do is disrupt one aspect of their thing, and their entire assembly line broke. Their reputation, however, there were people that would only buy Xerox, especially when you were competing like I was for $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 enterprise level business, right? Which everybody wanted. But we weren't just selling copiers, right? So when I was selling copiers, it was a real golden time because it was pre-internet. We were just getting cell phones at $2,000 that you could carry around that weren't in a bag. I remember having a Qualcomm that was the worst piece of shit ever existed. Right? Remember that? And
I knew that
bad.
one.
So bad, right? So we competed with Xerox, so nobody was calling us because we were a Konica or a Panasonic. So there was no inbound whatsoever. We had to generate everything was outbound. We had a customer database that printed off letters and call sheets on a weekly, monthly basis, right? This huge machine, and you decide what sequence it was. I think we were using what was before Act, like before Act. That's what we were using, and it would put up these letters.
Act.
Yeah.
You'd
Oh, yeah.
sign 'em and
ACT.
mail 'em.
Yeah. Remember that data? Oh, yeah. That was,
Yeah.
Act and Goldmine.
But,
yeah,
but this is before that. So the encouragement I want to give you is that I absolutely get where you're coming from, because I struggle with it myself. What separated every single successful salesperson back then from the ones that didn't make it was their ability to manage the top of the funnel. I was not very effective at cold calling. I did it. What changed everything for me was, if you guys think I'm good with centers of influence, it's because I quickly realized that I had to figure out a way to get access to a whole bunch of client prospects without cold calling, because I suck so bad at it. And that's how BNI happened. That's how referral groups, that how the networking and stuff like that. Harvey McKay, dig your wealth before you're thirsty, right? All that kind of stuff. And so I get it, Tip. Ironically, my newsletter today and my video today on LinkedIn are about the core strategy that changed everything for me. One simple thing, right? And it's what you do based upon what day of the week it is.
Mhm.
So yeah, there was no internet. You had to cold call. I got kicked out of so many buildings. Oh my God. It was great.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing your survey, and more importantly, to seeing the results. And if there's anything I can do to be the whip, and getting people to fill it out, let us know.
Well, it'd be great to release it inside the community, but also if you wouldn't mind sending it directly to your database
Sure.
of people, because and the trick will be, I don't want this to be another, alpha male, you don't know how to sell kind of beat you into submission survey. I want it to be a real simple, easy to digest. Hey, this is where I'm at, and this is what I think it should be, without any you should be at 12 or whatever.
No judgment. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for sharing all that.
Outstanding. Hey
Yeah,
guys, it's hard to believe it's already 10:22.
I'm honestly not sure what the number should be.
We're fitting to find out, Mike.
Yeah.
Well, going back to George's 1 through 5 of who you are is going to change the answer to what that looks like also, right?
Yeah. Yes, Eric. Yes.
Claude, remember that for George.
Claude, remember that. Yeah. Could we do a round of, we have enough time to do
your
it.
own dictation.
Well, it's fantastic. Are you kidding? You have this Claude is fantastic.
Claude, George
and
said-
by the way,
Yeah.
the integration of Claude into Claire too works. So that's going to be in the next release as well. And you'll see AI note taker down in the left nav bar. I'll have a full. You'll hear more about this. So much work to do. So much great work to do. I'm excited.
Takeaways.
So key takeaways. Who wants to get us started and hand it off to the next person in line? Who's first?
I'll
I'll
jump
go.
in first since I was the last one into the group.
Hey, Ed. Good morning, man.
I think the biggest challenges are letting owners tell you what the value of their business is before you get a chance to do a little research on them and their business. I've just recently got encountered with a valuation of a concrete business, and the big thing they told me was what it was worth before I started. And I said, I don't agree. I don't disagree. I don't have enough knowledge to be able to give you an answer. And I think that's one of the things that we've got to be very careful of, not to give an answer when we don't have some substance.
100%. Was it Columbo who said just the the facts?
Yes, right. Yep.
Yeah.
I'll pass it to Tip.
Just one thing.
I think the one thing was the look of the new report and Tim's just subtle piece of feedback on making it more visual. I think that was super duper important. I'll kick it over to Paul.
So multiples. I came prepared today in case, Eric, like last week, we needed some topic. So I'll leave you with to think about, how do you take a $10 billion business and in less than 18 months resell it for $12.5 billion? And how do you do a clarity growth assessment on a sports team that's a family-owned business that has a trust with 6 siblings that somehow have voting rights that trump everything else, no pun intended there.
With
So
17.5% of the business.
yeah, it's crazy. It would be fun to do a joint case study live on the Lakers to see what's going on and talk about multiples. I don't know what it's on and how you make your money back. So I'll pass
They
it.
must have had a great estate planner, Paul.
Something. Yeah. I'll pass it to Tim.
Janine Buss had a really good attorney. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I think my takeaway, in addition to holding my breath for the new reports, is Mike's process for qualifying people at the top of the funnel. So I'm holding my breath for that too. And I'll pass it to Eric.
Yeah, Tim, I'm right with you. Lots of great discussion today, but I'm really interested to see some of your insights, Mike, in a educational manner to a broader group, to Tip's point, that doesn't spend all their time selling. How can we be better at managing the top of our funnel? I'm really, really interested in that. So that'll be fun. Yeah. Mike.
So my insight is, every time I show up, I'm so glad I did. And especially when the conversation gets kind of technical, like it did in the beginning, which is not my forte, right? When it gets in there, because if I stick it out, I always kind of have a little bit of like, why am I on this call, when I watch some of you that really know what the hell you're doing? On this valuation stuff, you guys start talking, I'm like, man, you are incompetent. You shouldn't be talking. That's me, right? And then I end up learning something and go, okay, that's really useful. So the other takeaway was the amount of confidence that I need to be able to really, really use clarity is so much tied into the aesthetics of it, right? It's so much tied into it, because I've had a couple of bad experiences from people that shouldn't matter that much, but I'm weak. I'm just weak. When people crush you, even if it's not warranted, it still hurts. And so, George, it was really awesome to see that stuff. It'll be nice. And the only problem is, it's probably going to mean that other people end up beating me on the referral thing, because I don't think you are even ready for what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Good.
That was awesome to see.
I pass
Thank
it to whoever hasn't gone. George.
Well, thank you, guys. Thank you to each and all of you, and thank you to everyone who isn't on this call, but for all of you who show up, week after week or episodically, and it's the middle of vacation time. Vacation gave me a chance to reflect on how incredibly grateful I am to each of you guys. How grateful I am, deep gratitude to this community. And to this process that we've developed together, where this community is a safe place. Our community, your community, is a safe place to have these conversations, to be open, to be vulnerable. Even though we know this is going to be published out to the world, this is you are the reason that we are successful. You are the reason that we, you help me be accountable to you. And you help me think through how we can constantly improve. The methodology and process are set, but how can we improve your ability to win engagements and deliver client wins? And I'm really very, very grateful. Thank you. You have my most profound thank you for being in this community, for sharing, for being open, and being willing to call me out when needed. And I really appreciate it. So again, thanks.
George, I'd just like to file one little complaint. Last week when you weren't here, Ed was giving me crap because I didn't show enough chest hair like you do as the leader, and so I felt really demeaned and useless, and
All
so
of us undershirt wearing people.
When you have, well, first of all, try that in Charleston yesterday. The heat index was 114, and I don't usually pay attention to heat index. When it's 97 with 114, you do. Also, when your torso is this long and your shoulders are about the same width, you end up with shirts that, I have a choice. I can either wear something that looks like I'm wearing a sail or a skirt or a bathrobe, or have this top button undone. And I went for, I'm just going to go
after hours. Say that for
after. So, fair point, Eric. Fair point. It's funny. I was at a cocktail party during Spoleto and a guy was like, he commented on, I'm like, dude, this is just the way that it is. All right. So
all I got to say is Mardi Gras late.
So, all right, guys. Listen, gentlemen, thank you. I'm sorry we didn't have any ladies today. Hey, those of you watching, if you have not registered for the summit, there are only a few spots left. I don't think people believe me that we're going to close the door. So I'm going to be making some phone calls to people who definitely
get signed up. Get signed up.
Please register. We're not messing around. The hotel is literally filling. And okay, with that, it's 10:30. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Great.
And see you next week. Anything I can do to help, call me. Okay. We'll talk soon. Thanks, gentlemen. Bye, Ed.